So my name's Andre. I go by ArcticAndre online. I'm a member of Esports at UCF, a part of the event and content team. I also work full time as a bartender for a country club, and I create content on Twitch and YouTube in my spare time as well. Going into my sophomore year at UCF, studying criminal justice as well with a minor in political science. I've always kind of been involved in the esports scene even before coming to UCF, primarily Overwatch, working with different Overwatch organizations, a couple of which I still work with. So I've always kind of been interested in esports. I think the competitive nature of video games is just fascinating to me and interesting to be a part of and watch kind of together. So being a part of esports at UCF just kind of came naturally to me as it's something I was interested in, and it was already kind of in my little UCF community as well. I really don't have any favorites. I don't specifically go out and look for, you know, a queer character that I can stick to. It's just sort of one of those. I like this character not necessarily because they're queer, but just because they're, a fun character to play by the mechanics or have an interesting backstory. But me personally, I don't have like a favorite queer one that stands out. I think the best brand by far that's doing probably the most for Pride Month in the gaming space that I've noticed, and it's just because I followed this very closely, is the Overwatch League community. They've kind of already always been good with the queer community and promoting Pride Month during the month of June. They've been really effective for that type of thing. I think a lot of the individual teams outside of Overwatch that compete in a lot of the CSGOs, the Call of Duties, all that type of stuff, like FaZe Clan and all of those teams, those are the worst brands by far when it comes to trying to promote this stuff, just because they don't really promote it at all. It's the lack of promotion that really sticks out to me. Queer men could definitely be, I think, shown a bit more. I don't necessarily think that we are underrepresented, but I do think our, community is rather just kind of pushed to the side when it comes to trying to, you know, raise awareness. And just a lot of the queer players as a gay man don't really, talk about it as often as they should. And I think that's really hard for me to feel represented in the competitive gaming space, because a lot of these players that don't go out and talk about it. They kind of keep it inside and don't really advertise it, which is hard for me because it feels like the space isn't as inclusive as it actually is. They should highlight these players better and kind of demonstrate that it doesn't matter who you are, you can be amazing at video games and compete competitively, and this is how that diversity is shown, through showing off different gay players, or I think if we got to know more of the personal life behind these players as well, that would help demonstrate that as well. Because it feels like, with, professional athletes that compete in, traditional sports, we get to see a lot of their personal life. So that's more prominent. But for esports players, we don't know a lot about them outside of just their, being good at video games. So I feel like if we got to highlight their personal life a little bit more and got to know more of that side about them, that would make it easier to highlight as well. The Overwatch community has been very welcoming. I found, because I've worked so closely with a lot of the different teams, it's always just been a welcoming environment. Even some of the independent organizations that I still work with have just been a very inclusive and welcoming environment. So I feel like the Overwatch community does the best when it comes to that. Of course, there's always going to be room for improvement, but I feel like overall they have been the most accepting and has the most accepting player base. I think any type of discrimination flat out needs to be, handled more at the individual level when it comes to players, and leagues and stuff like that, and teams need to crack down on that type of stuff with everything going on, because any type of discrimination or discriminatory talk should be squashed, because that's not someone we want representing our community and someone that we want representing competitively. So if someone's not holding the values that the community holds, they should not be representing us on a competitive level. One of the first content creators I ever started watching was Dan's Gaming. He's a queer Twitch streamer that I've always enjoyed watching his content for years and years. He was one of the first content creators I ever found. And he was just sort of always an inspiration, because he never let it hold him back from being, one of the most popular Twitch streamers out there, even still to this day. He never let it hold him back, and he always just kind of kept pushing forward. So he was always a big inspiration for me. Pride to me is making our community known, making everyone aware that we exist and we just exist as normal people and that we coexist with everybody else just as they do. Pride to me is just a demonstration that, hey, just because I'm gay doesn't mean that I'm any different from who you are, and that we can't, get along still, and that we're just normal people just like you.